Okay, welcome to the debut episode of the Pickin' Chicken. Here we go. We are looking at the United States men's soccer team, which is going to open up tonight the FIFA World Cup at home in Los Angeles at 6 p.m. Pacific time versus Paraguay. Now, the results between these two have been pretty closely competitive, so we'll look at the last 5 games between these teams and then the games that they've played against other teams. The U.S. won 2 of the matches, Paraguay won 1, and 2 of those head-to-heads ended up in draws. The goal differential across them along the last 5 games has actually been pretty tight. The United States scored slightly more goals overall. Each match had its own context, but it's been a pretty balanced rivalry. But we're going to look at their most recent match, where the statistics were the United States had possession of 56% of the time, which is an important stat in soccer, along with Paraguay having 44%. Yellow cards were evenly distributed, so shit tickets on both sides of the board. Paraguay had 1 red card, however, with Omar Alderte. It happened during stoppage time, so whether it was garbage time or not doesn't matter. They still have a higher proclivity of drawing cards because they do tend to play more physically, so that's something to take a look at. If we're looking at head-to-head games, as mentioned, we have a total amount of goals scored came from the United States 5, Paraguay 5 over those 5 matches. What else should we look at here that's actually important? Their record over the last 4 games against recent opponents, so not against each other, which is very important because it shows kind of what they're looking like today, is the United States has a 1-3 record in the last 4 games, and Paraguay is reversed. They're 3-1. United States has 6 goals scored. Paraguay has 8 goals scored in the last 4 matchups. And goals against, which is a huge leak on the U.S. squad side, is 11 goals scored versus Paraguay's 3. So if we're going to look at goal differential, that comes out to be a -5 goal differential for the boys in red, white, and blue. And Paraguay has a +5 goal differential, which doesn't seem to reflect this line. The line right now stands at the United States to win is +110 to -105, depending on where you're shopping. But I've seen those lines move throughout the day. Depending on where you shop, it's always important to make sure that you find the best book that you're going to pull the line from. That's how you get an edge in sports betting. The draw is +210 or +250. And that might be surprising when we consider that Paraguay to win comes out at +290, and I've seen it also up to 320. So $320 on 100 for Paraguay to win, looking at they've won 3 of their last 4. The United States is the dead opposite. And the United States has absolutely 0 clean sheets versus a Paraguay 2 clean sheets in their last 4 outings. That just leads me to think that there is kind of an upside down pick here. It might be because of the home field advantage, might be because FIFA decided to host this in 3 North American nations, and the United States gets the opportunity of having them play in LA, which I'm sure there's a lot of politics that we can be very disappointed about FIFA in the background of all of this. But what's important to know is that Paraguay has had tough matchups, and they have won 3 out of the 4. The United States has also been equally tough. Their last game against Germany getting handed the L. And, you can say that you might temper that iron in the fire just fine, and that makes sense to me because, Germany's one of the top 5 teams in the league or in the FIFA tournament right now. So we got to take it with a grain of salt. The United States might have lost, but they did put a goal up on the Germans during that game. So I'm kind of torn between it. I do want to side a little bit towards the United States just because I do feel like the home field advantage is going to be huge and the entire stadium is going to be rocking in LA for the United States. But the tendency for the stats leans a little bit more towards the Paraguay squad. However, this is called the Pickin' Chicken, so it's called so for a reason. At the end of each analytical breakdown, we are going to let one of my favorite birds make the decision. So with no further ado, here is the Pickin' Chicken. Remember, gamble responsibly and don't be a chicken. The results are in. Paraguay wins.